Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Data really isn't just about staring at spreadsheets all day. It's actually more like being a detective, solving mysteries, and ultimately driving massive business decisions. So today, we're going to step right into the shoes of a lead data analyst to unpack a pretty fascinating scenario and see how we actually get the full picture.
Okay, so here's your scenario. Imagine you are the lead data analyst for a major, bustling movie theater chain. The stakes, well, they're pretty high. Your manager just handed you a critical mission. You need to figure out exactly what your audience wants and how they behave. Specifically, we've got to track 3 vital trends here: movie attendance over time, the real profitability of our concession stands, and what our evening audiences actually prefer. But before we can play detective and solve these mysteries, let's take a quick look at the tools we have in our toolkit.
Section 1. Data Tools and Types. Choosing your weapons.
As an analyst, you're really only as good as the tools you use, right? Well, we basically have 2 main categories at our disposal. On one hand, we've got quantitative tools. Think structured interviews, surveys, polls, things that give us hard, measurable numbers. They tell us the what. On the other hand, we have qualitative tools like focus groups, social media text analysis, and in-person interviews. These give us the human context, the feelings and the nuances. They tell us the why. And to be successful, we absolutely need both of these working together.
Okay, let's dive into this. Trend 1. Movie attendance, the holiday spike.
To figure out what is actually happening with attendance, we first look at our historical loyalty data. Now, if we just look at the last 3 months, honestly, we don't see much. But if we expand our view to a full year, boom, something massive reveals itself. During non-holiday months, attendance sits at an average of about 550 people per month. But during the holidays, it dramatically spikes to 1,600. That is a massive swing, and it completely changes how the theater needs to staff up and prepare.
But there's a catch. While this historical quantitative data is fantastic, management is actually planning to bump up ticket prices for evening showtimes in a few months. So we're definitely going to have to revisit this attendance data later to see exactly how that price hike impacts these numbers. Keep that in the back of your mind, because it is absolutely crucial.
Trend 2. Concession profits, the margin squeeze. Okay, the concession stand is literally the lifeblood of any theater. But we have to remember, profit is just what's left over after subtracting our costs from our sales. And when we look at our historical data here, we find a genuinely terrifying number: less than 5%. Seriously, even though the average customer purchase totals around $20, the profit margins are just razor thin. For such a major revenue stream, a margin under 5% is a huge, huge vulnerability.
Because those numbers are just so incredibly tight, we really need to dig deeper. The next logical step? An online survey to ask our customers directly about the food. If we can get them to tell us what they actually value, we can revamp the menu and, hopefully, fatten up those razor-thin profits.
Now, what's really interesting about this is Trend 3, Audience Preferences, Optimizing the Schedule. Evening moviegoers are our biggest source of revenue, for sure, so optimizing the schedule is absolutely paramount. But our historical data shows a weird scheduling dilemma. The 7:30 p.m. showtime is the most popular, and it's closely followed by 7:15 and 9 p.m. However, the 8 p.m. showtime is noticeably lagging behind. That is a prime hour, right? Yet it's underperforming compared to the slots right before and right after it.
So, looking at those times, a hypothesis starts to form. What if we just replace that underperforming 8 p.m. slot with an 8:30 p.m. showtime? It makes sense, but right now, it's just a hunch. And in the data world, hunches just aren't enough. We need real, concrete data from our audience before we go and upend the entire theater schedule.
Part 4. The Qualitative Questionnaire. Asking the why.
So we know the what, right? The attendance spikes, the tight margins, the lagging showtimes. Now we need that human context, the why. So we build a survey. The first question targets attendance directly. We ask, what went into your decision to see a movie in our theater today? This is completely open-ended. Are they here for a holiday? Is it just the location? This gives us the real, nuanced context behind those massive spikes we saw earlier.
Next up, we ask, what do you think about the quality and value of your purchases at the concession stand? This directly attacks our second trend. We know people are spending $20, but our margins are under 5%. By asking about perceived value, like whether they think it's overpriced or maybe poor quality, we get the exact qualitative insights we need to confidently fix that menu.
Our third question is highly specific.
Which showtime do you prefer, 8 p.m. or 8:30 p.m., and why do you prefer that time? This is exactly how we test our schedule hypothesis. We're directly asking the audience to compare that lagging slot with our proposed new time. Their reasoning is going to tell us exactly how to optimize the evening schedule.
Finally, we throw in a highly strategic question. Under what circumstances would you choose a matinee over a nighttime showing? Remember that planned evening ticket price increase management mentioned? Well, this question gauges their price sensitivity, meaning how much does the cost actually dictate their choices? If they tell us they choose matinees strictly because they're cheaper, well, we know raising evening prices might just push our best audience away entirely.
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway here. Our hard numbers did a brilliant job highlighting the problems. They gave us the what, but it's the human context from our survey that actually provides the solutions, giving us the why. To make truly impactful business decisions, these two literally have to work together. So as you look at complex challenges in your own work, numbers give you the what, context gives you the why. Which one will you rely on for your next big decision?